So let's talk about retraining students. This is something I see on a continual basis because for whatever reason, someone might leave dance for a while and then they come back. Sometimes they might go to their old studio. Sometimes they might come show up at mine. But what I often find is students that come into the school and have already had training, we constantly have to retrain their foundation. And the foundation of the work is something that we train and teach in every single level. For instance, when they get to point work, we have to retrain them because it's a harder level, and because it's more difficult, their technique has to be better in order to do it correctly and safely. Otherwise, they could even end up with bunions as early as 12, 13, 14, and they're painful. And so it's really essential that we train them in a way that's going to set them up for point work and set them free in their movement so they feel successful, so they feel like they can do anything in life. And I really believe that is that when they find success in something that's difficult in their childhood, they're able to translate that in their lives as young adults and later in life. And so it's really important that their training be correct, even at the early ages. So I just had a 6-year-old come into us. Now she'd been doing dance at her elementary school just after school. Now I could actually see that she has some beautiful technique and some beautiful training. She has nice turnout, and so I can tell she actually had a really nice. A good teacher. She had a really good teacher because I see some beautiful qualities. However, I can see that she was being given challenges that were above her skill level because I can see she started to kind of grip her toes and tighten her feet and her ankles and her calves. And so when she's landing, she's not landing her jumps correctly. And I always train the students, you can only jump as high as you can land safely. So we focus on the landings first, and then as their landings get better, then we work on getting their height, getting their endurance and their stamina. And it's so beautiful when, like, I just got this student at about 2.5 in a Mommy and Me class, and she is literally a jumping bean. She looks like she's, jumping on a trampoline sometimes when she jumps because she was really set up. We do it in a playful way. So we're tiptoeing, trying to keep quiet so we don't wake up their stuffed animal or their baby, whichever they choose, right? Or they're tiptoeing through sticky mud, right? Or they're walking on the moon. And so we do it in a really fun way for them. But they also, the imagery works beautifully to help them learn tiptoes through their feet and ankles. And so it's really fun to see them build success in that. And then they start jumping from their hamstrings and their glutes at 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. And that sets them up for a movement pattern that they can thrive and grow forever in anything that they do physically. So it's just a wonderful foundation for them. I also had someone who came in to me a few years ago. She was about 8 years old, and she had learned a waltz wrong. Now, a waltz is challenging because it goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But you alternate your feet. So it's right, up, left, up, right, up, left. And she learned a waltz step, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. She didn't have it at all. Like she couldn't alternate her feet. And in dance, we learn the waltz, we learn a polka, which is up, down, and they learn a balancé, which is step, ball change, step, ball change. And so these steps are similar, but they're different. And so because she learned her waltz wrong, and for whatever reason, waltz is a very simple step, so likely this student was probably in an extremely large class and it got missed because a waltz isn't something that like every teacher would know how to teach a waltz. It's not that complex. It's a very basic step. So I'm guessing that she probably was in an extremely large class and it just got missed. The challenge in that is that not only did she struggle to relearn her waltz, she had a really hard time with her polka. She got them mixed up. Balancé was extremely difficult as well. And the unfortunate part is the student actually believed that it was her, that she didn't have the coordination, that she couldn't do it. But that wasn't true at all. She had built muscle memory that was incorrect. And so I had to help her unlearn that. And so it took extra compassion on her part, took patience on my part as an educator to help her work through it. And she did. She absolutely worked through it. She's a beautiful dancer now. But that retraining phase can be very challenging. And I always have to be very delicate because I know that all teachers are doing their best. And I remember before I got my Cicchetti certification, I was teaching one of the foundational steps incorrectly. And I had great training, but the truth is that by the time you get to be a professional dancer and a professional educator, you don't remember what you learned when you were little. And so there's a huge gap because dancers train for 20, 25 years. There's a huge gap between what you learn and the process of getting there as an educator. So that's why it's so key to actually have a syllabus that shows you the seamless thread that goes one by one by one by one. And in another video, I'm going to show you exactly the progression that we use, because I think it's important that you see that not only is the progression simple and easy, but it makes sense, it's logical, and then learning is fun, it's simple, it's easy. Ballet is only frustrating if you don't have the training as an educator to teach it. And I really believe that that's that miscommunication in knowing what to teach, and also the miscommunication of knowing what to give the student at the right time really makes a difference in the teacher's ability to release frustration and to allow their students a simple process of learning. And so it just becomes a very peaceful experience to learn when you've got a structure in place that helps kids win. And that's what we do. We just try to help them win in the dance. And even if they come to us for 6 months or a year, we're helping them set a foundation in their movement skills that's going to set them up for success in anything physical that they do. Obviously, the longer they're in our program, the better they're going to be at basketball and football, my personal favorite, soccer, anything else that they learn. They're going to be more successful because they've had dance education and a really strong, correct muscle balancing program that's essential to movement success. All right. Thanks for listening. And I hope you'll join us. Come join us in the studio. We'll see you soon.